That's what she said. Only the strong survive. Only the strong survive. Yeah, you gotta be strong. You better hold on. Don't go.
All right. Well, I know you're saying, what is she up to today? Only the strong survive. Well, I'm going to get to that in a moment. This is Sister Modupwe. Sister Modupwe's Raw Vegan Soul Food Show. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to have a blast today because I got some information for you. We're going to talk about how to stay strong, not worry. Remember, this is 2016, baby, and we're not about worrying. We're about elevating and expanding. So that means knowing how to be strong and stay strong, right? So if you listen to the news, there's a new virus this week. Every week, every day, there's a new something. Oh, the air's ozone, or the water's jacked up. Look at the poor folks in Flint, Michigan, dealing with that horrible lead-tainted water. So there's always something, right? But no worries, right? Because we're about joy, we're about prosperity, we're about health, we're about enjoying this life. But to enjoy this life, you want to be strong at all times. So as the flow goes, as the punches come, whatever, you're doing fine. So today, we're going to be talking about, that's right, the immune system. That's why I'm not worried. Bring it on. Virus, bacteria, whatever. To get through it strong and no worries, you got to keep your immune system strong. That's the clue. You waiting for a vaccine? I don't think so. You waiting for a medication? I don't think so, at least not for me. I don't want to take one thing that's going to unbalance my body, have a lot of side effects. A lot of it is experimental. When we've got this marvelous, beautiful, wonderful machine, the best beautiful machine ever designed, right? The Creator's given us this machine, which is programmed to always take care of itself unless you get in the way. If you get in the way and you don't give it the nutrients it needs, or you're doing a lot of anti-nutrition. What does she mean by anti-nutrition, right? Nutrition are things like smoking, stress, a lot of alcohol. We know what they are. Some people call them vices, right? I'm not doing moral judgments. I'm just talking about, do you want to feel strong? Do you want to feel good? You want to be healthy? You want to age beautifully? Well, these are things that we have to take into consideration. We take care of our car, we take care of our home, we take care of our finances. Come on now. We get one life, and this is not a dress rehearsal. You hear me? This is not a dress rehearsal. This is for real. And you have so much power, but you've got to take the power into your hand and take care of yourself. Listen to your body. Understand how it works. Understand how to assist it, and understand how to stay out of its way, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the immune system, all right? Let's understand a little bit about what that means, how that functions, what it's made up of, okay? I have a book I like to refer to quite a bit called The Nutritional Healing. Did you hear that? Nutritional Healing, prescription for nutritional healing. That's the only kind of prescription, personally, that I want, okay? Yes, so they have a section in here that talks about the weakened immune system. And we don't just talk about issues or challenges on this show. We're going to talk about solutions too. So stay tuned as we go from one part to the other part, okay? So we know that modern conventional medicine battles disease directly by means of drugs, right? Surgery, radiation, and other therapies. They call it therapies. I call it experimentation. But true health can be obtained. Did you hear me? True health. We don't want all the pretend stuff. We don't want all the stuff with the side effects. You hear me? We want the real, true stuff. True health can be attained only by maintaining a healthy, properly functioning immune system. Did you hear me that? You don't have to be worried. Understand how to maintain a healthy, properly functioning immune system. That's why you have it. It's very, very important, but you got to understand it. You have to want to work with it. You don't want to be working against it or abusing it, right? We want to help it take care of ourselves, right? So it is the immune system that fights off disease-causing microorganism and that engineers the healing process. Let me repeat that. It is the immune system that fights off disease-causing microorganisms and that engineers the healing process. That sounds like a system you want to take good care of and understand, right? So, the immune system is the key to fighting every kind of insult to the body. Whether it's stress, whether it's bacteria, whether it's a new virus, whatever it is, okay? So, insult to the body, from that being a shaving nick. Oh, my husband knows about those. Shaving nicks, right? You want to heal up properly from that, right? Or if it's viruses, a ton of viruses, like I say, we're hearing about new viruses almost every day, right? That seem to abound these days. Even the aging process, even the aging process may be more closely related to the functioning of the immune system than to the passage of time. Everybody's always talking about time working against them. Time's going to cause all this aging. Did you hear that? Your immune system is key to how you will age. And I don't know about you, but I like being active. I like being healthy. I like not waking up to having to take looking at the table beside the bed is covered with medications and all that kind of thing. We don't have to do that. There's another way. There's a better way, okay? And one thing is to understand intricately how your immune system works, what it's about, why you have it, and how not to get in its way. That's a lot of it. A lot of it is about how not to get in its way, because this is on automatic pilot. As you've heard me say before, do I have to say, okay, lungs, fill up, okay, lungs, empty out? No. Do I have to say heartbeat, heartbeat? No. I don't have to do any of that. It's on automatic pilot. It's the most fabulous machine ever designed, because remember, this is not who we are. This is a vehicle. This is a vessel, right? This is a temple for our spirit, our soul, whatever you want to call it. But we have to take care of it, right? We've got to feed it. We've got to clean it. We need to maintain it. We even have to take it out for exercise. That's right. Take it out for some exercise so that you wear it and it doesn't look like it's wearing you, okay? So, weakening of the immune system occurs in results in increased susceptibility to virtually everything. Did you hear me? To virtually everything. A cold, the flu, some new bacteria, some new virus, whatever. It is the reason that those things happen if your immune system is weak. All right, now there's a lot of common signs. Yeah, sometimes your body is giving you signs and signals. People sometimes tend to ignore them, but that's not a good idea. All right, if you're feeling something, and don't wait for the doctor to tell you it is something or it's not something. You know how you feel. It makes me think of this story about this baseball player, and he kept telling him he did not feel well. I can't recall his name right now. And just because their testing equipment and such couldn't pick up on anything, they told him, well, we don't show anything, everything's all right. Turned out the man had a tumor. He could feel this tumor, but they couldn't find it for quite some time. I don't remember how the story ended, but the real lesson is listen to your body, and if you think something's going on, pay attention, research it, do something about it. The body gives you information constantly, right? Don't ignore it. Take care of the body. And it might be not something you need to do. It might be something what? You need to stop doing, okay? So let's take care of this body so that it can take us happily, healthily, full of prosperity through this journey, all right? So let's find out a little bit more about the immune system. So the immune system is made up of a lot of different cells, tissue, all types of things. And the immune system functions in a really, really interesting, let's see, what do you want to call it? It's not just one organ doing one thing. It's actually a system. There's tissue and nodes. You ever start getting a sore throat and you be like, oh, my lymph nodes are kind of aching me or something. That's that tissue that's in one place in the body, but it's in different places in the body, giving you a signal that, hey, the fight's on. I've noticed something's in here that shouldn't be in here, right? Okay, so this is one of the websites I found that was really, really informative, that broke down information about what is the function of the immune system. Okay, it talks about the tissues and the cells, where things are located, how how in the bone marrow, that's why the bone marrow is so important. You hear about people having the cancer and it's their bone marrow. That's very, very dangerous. I'm not saying it can't be turned around, but because you have an immune cells that come from that bone marrow that are some of your soldiers. Essentially, that's what you have in your immune system and those lymph nodes and things like that. You got soldiers, and they go out and say, okay, there's a battle on here. There's something here that shouldn't be here, and we got to get rid of it. And there's a variety of different ways that different cells and such in the body and different tissue works. Some engulf the say the bacteria or whatever. It actually eats it up. It grabs a hold of it, and then it helps to carry it out the body. You've got this lymph fluid. This, you know, like when you cut yourself or something's healing and you see that clear liquid, that's part of that lymph system fluid that's helping to wash away, clean up and help close up wounds and things like that. So it's very important to keep the body healthy so that those tissues and that fluid can be produced and function properly. Now, there's a very important thing to understand about the lymph node, the immune system and the lymph system. It doesn't have a heart to beat like blood has the heart to help send it around the body. You got to get up and move. That's how that lymph, those tissues and that fluid and such, that's how that material gets sent around the body. That's how it stays healthy. You've got to get up and do some exercise. Now, you don't have to overdo it, but you do need to get up and move. One article I was reading said that those little trampoline type of things, you know, the little circular ones that you can kind of jump up in place on, those are excellent. 15 minutes a day on that and you're set. I used to have one years ago. I think I'm gonna have to go out and get one because some days you get so busy, you look up, the day is gone, you really haven't gotten outside to really get that heart rate up. You can even put that if you're in your office up under your desk or something. So it's no reason not to get a little 15-minute exercise in to get that heart rate up. It's so important, not just aerobic exercise in terms of burning calories and keeping muscles toned and things like that, but also to keep fluids that don't have their own pump, to keep them circulating around in the body. And that's also how you tell the body to stay energized and stay young. It's like when you don't get up and move. I'll tell you a good example, like when someone breaks a bone and it's in that limb or whatever is in a cast and they're not using that bone, well, atrophy sets in because the body's kind of like, oh, okay, well, you're not using that, so I'm not going to work at keeping that dense and strong. And the bone will actually have, it might be healing, but it also have shrunk some because the body has not been continually building it and keeping it dense and strong. So that's how systems in our body are. Even with the digestive system, it's your gut and such. You need to get up and move around to help move that material through the body. There's no pump that really helps to push it a lot, though you do have muscle constriction and contraction in there to help move material along. But you really need to help aid that whole system and such by movement, okay? So now let's take a look at the next article. Remember I said this is a whole system of cells and materials and tissue, and it's located in different places in the body. So it's very important that you eat properly, you do some exercise, and also you do things like, guess what? Water. We had a whole show talking about water, right? About liquids that we need in the body. Well, that is one of the things you need to do. Now, this site is really good. I really like this particular site. It talks about, it actually has it so you can listen to it. So it's actually a site that's designed for children, but I find it's a really, really good site in the information they provide. It will read it to you, you know, so that's a great way to sit down with the kids and have a really good discussion so they can understand why you tell them eat this certain way, why you tell them they got to get enough rest, things like that. So you'll see, like I was saying, that this system, the immune system is made up, what do they say there? Special cells, proteins, tissues, organs, right? And so it's really, really important to take a good care of it. Okay, we can keep scrolling. This particular article talks about, it tells you the names of different cells and what different types of cells and tissues do, things like that. You've probably heard of lymphocytes and things like that, and white blood cells. And sometimes people, I think it's leukemia, where the white blood cell count actually gets too high. You need a lot of them to help keep you healthy, but things can go unbalanced the other way also. Okay, we'll keep scrolling through there. Okay, so one thing that this article talked about, and I really wanted to bring out, is you see where they're talking about antibodies and things like that. Well, that's great, and the body has a way to make sure that it can recognize when something comes back in the body. That's why adults tend to get fewer colds than kids, because our body has gotten to the point now it can recognize several things, whereas kids' immune system is building up. But there's one thing that people sometimes do not understand, and that is that you can get sick again from a disease or something. How? If your immune system gets weakened. So things like tuberculosis, right? The body has, say someone who's had tuberculosis, it's gone through that, the body recognizes if your immune system gets too low, you can get sick with that same disease, illness again. So don't think, well, I had chicken pox or this, that, or the other thing. It is not impossible for you to either get sick again with that same thing or in a different form, right? But you have to realize, no worries, right? Keep that immune system strong. Let's take a look at the next article, next link we have there. All right. So while we're trying to bring that one up, let me say this. I talked about solutions, right? We're also going to talk about solutions. So listen to this. Oh, is that showing? Okay. So, who would have thunk, right? Cellulite, and I know it's not a women's issue, it could be a men's issue too. Did you realize that that has something to do with the lymph nodes and such? When that fluid is not getting circulating enough, it starts to collect and starts making the skin look saggy and such. So one thing that this particular article was talking about was dry brushing. And I don't know, let me explain dry brushing. It's a special kind of firm brush that you use. You don't use it when it's wet, you actually use it while your skin is dry. And that helps to invigorate and help the lymph system to move that lymph fluid around in the body. Another interesting thing that this article talked about in terms of make sure to keep that system all activated is to make sure to do things like taking hot, turning the water on in the shower hot to cold. I don't mean burning yourself, but from warm to very chilly makes your circulation increase quite a bit. See, alternating hot and cold showers. Yeah. Another thing is to avoid allergic foods or your specific food sensitivities. And I know you're looking like, now I know if I'm allergic to something, I know I won't eat it. No, you hear me start saying shouldn't and wouldn't. A lot of people mess up their system, their whole body system, by continuing to do things that the body says, look, this doesn't work for me. I like to always bring up the example of ice cream. How many folks out there know they have no business eating ice cream, and they do it because it tastes a certain way to them, or brings back childhood memories, but they're very, very allergic to it or are very sensitive to it. Immediately when they eat it, they start to have gas. Some people break out, have a rash from something, and they still will continue to do it. Well, they think, oh, well, the rash will pass. But you don't understand that that's really weakening the body's system. You're causing the body to go on full alert while it's trying to deal with that, either that allergy or that food sensitivity. And it starts weakening, breaking down the body. It's like kind of like the little boy who called wolf, and he kept calling wolf, wolf, and then after a while, people stopped coming to see what the deal was, because they figured he just hollering and calling wolf, and that's not really what's going on. And then the wolf ends up devouring the boy because nobody came when it really was the situation, when the wolf was showing up. So don't weaken the body by constantly doing things that the body is saying, I can't handle, right? As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, you may have noticed I was swelling up. I had some itchy things going on with me. I have no idea why. I figured it was pineapple. Now, I've eaten pineapple all my life. I love pineapple. But by the time I figured out it was the pineapple the second time, guess who's not eating pineapple anymore? I am not eating pineapple because I don't need to go through that. There's other wonderful, delicious other foods to eat. My body tells me for whatever reason, maybe temporarily, maybe not temporarily, I don't know if it's something they're doing to the pineapples or what. Hey, I can find other food to eat. I do not want to swell up, be itching like I was when I had that pineapple. It took me twice, and I figured out finally it was the pineapple. But I'm not going to keep throwing my body into a tizzy over one food. So I hope that you'll be wise and realize that it's not worth what you're doing to your body long term. In short term, you might figure, oh, it's going to pass. Oh, I got hives, so what? They'll pass. not a good idea to keep causing that to happen to the body. So I wanted to read another section out of this book that talks about the immune system. It says, marvelous as it is, the immune system can work only if it is cared for properly. Ha! I've been kind of saying that, huh? This means getting all the right nutrients. Remember, we're always talking about nutrients. I tell you, I'm always drinking my nutrition here, right? Always the right nutrients and providing the right environment, right? So that means avoiding the things that tend to depress your immunity. Many elements of the environment we live in today, and I'm always talking about LA, right? There's a lot of excitement and fun and the beach and, you know, the movie stars and all that kind of stuff here in LA. But remember, this is a very challenging, stressful environment in terms of the air quality, in terms of, well, all over water. Matter of fact, I saw a list the other day because I was doing some research behind this thing, what's going on in Flint, Michigan. And guess who is at the top of the list for the most, let's just call it the most contaminated, problematic water? That's right, California. California. I'll bring the list next time and show it to you. Okay, even New York, right? New York is much larger in terms of population, at least in New York City, than California. But they were further down the list than California. We're at the top of the list, and it's probably because of so much agriculture and such here. Things get put into the water. Okay, so many elements in the environment we live in today compromise our immune system's defensive abilities, right? And those are like our soldiers. We don't want to be getting in the way of our soldiers defending our health. The chemicals in household cleaners, that's right. So you really, really want to try and use the most mild, less offensive to your body household chemicals you can use, because you're breathing that in. Your house is usually closed up, things like that. You don't want to keep breathing that stuff or have your kids breathing that stuff either. So buy milder biodegradable detergents which don't offend your body. Okay, the overuse of antibiotics and other drugs, we hear about this in the news all the time, and that's really a problem for people's immune systems. The antibiotics, pesticides, and all the other additives present in the foods, we talk about that. Read the labels, don't eat stuff you can't pronounce or your grandmother didn't have around to eat, okay? And exposure to environmental pollutants. All place a strain on the immune system. Remember, this is our defenses. We do not want to strain it. We do not want to get in the way of it taking care of us. Another factor that adversely affects the immune system is stress. Did you hear me? Stress. So stress is not just about getting a headache or not a good night's sleep or worrying over something. It actually really does a job on the body, and not a good job. So we don't want to, you know, if you're feeling stressful, first of all, clear your mind, right? Because getting stressful is not going to do you or the situation you have to deal with any good. You want to relax, go take a walk, drink some water, put on some music, just relax, because whatever it is, it's not more important than your life. You want to make sure that you handle it in a way that decreases the stress, not keeps increasing stress, okay? And another factor that adversely affects the system is that stress will result in a sequence of biochemical events. So it's not just that little headache or something. There's a lot of biochemistry that's happening inside the body, and it's affecting our immune systems. All right? So what happens is that it can ultimately suppress the normal activity of your white blood cells, and those are your soldiers, and places undue demands on the endocrine system, as well as depleting the body of needed nutrients. I'm always talking about the fact that we don't need all the calories our great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents needed, but we need more nutrients. The air is not as clean. People don't have as much family support. We live in these nuclear families where my parents are thousands of miles from me, my kids are all over the place. And so, you know, that's stressful. People don't have the close bonding, so to speak, of living in the close proximity of families to help deal with different things going on. Pick up that phone and talk to somebody. as well as depleting the body of needed nutrients. I wanted to repeat that because people don't realize that when you go through stress or you go through an illness or a dis-ease or something like that, it uses up a lot of nutrients in the body, right? Like I say, when you go to the hospital to see somebody, you don't take them pie or cake. You take them fresh fruit, you take them a green juice, something like that that you know is going to help rebuild the body. And that's the same thing you need to do for yourself, especially like if you've been put on antibiotics, you're just getting over the flu, whatever. You don't go and start eating fried food and candy and all that kind of stuff. You want to rebuild the body because it's used up a lot of nutrients to deal with that situation. Okay? And the result is impaired healing ability and lowered defense against infection. And that's why sometimes you see somebody that gets sick, it might take them years to try and get back into some kind of balance, because if you don't do the right things following a decrease in health, it can keep just cascading down, down, down. You look up, and every time you look up, you still keep getting infections or keep getting sick. That's because the defense systems have not been rebuilt. And it takes fresh food and things like that to get back in balance, and nutrients. Nutrients, extra nutrients, because we have a lot of stressors. So let's look at 3 important actions that we can take to drain our lymph fluids, because when this fluid is picking up bacteria and different things not good for the body, it needs to remove it out of the body. I mean, the system is such that it needs to take this material out of the body. So one of the most important things we can do to assist the system is, do you see that number 1 there? What am I always saying? Drink enough water. It's not just because it's going to help you go urinate, but as you urinate and do things, do the types of things you need for the body to get rid of things out of the body, or even to circulate things in the body. So if you're taking nutrients or you're eating the food, you've got to have that water to help move things around and out of the body. The other, exercise. I was saying you need that movement, and here's a picture of the small little trampoline type of thing I was talking about. These don't cost that much money, and they're a great way to get in a quick workout. I tell you, you get on there and do some in-place jogging, your heart rate will be up, and you'll be moving all kinds of things around in the body. Breathe better. Most people do not realize they are breathing really shallowly from up in the chest area, when you really need to breathe from the belly. And those are some of the types of things that yoga will teach you, how to breathe deeply. And even I saw one article was talking about the fact that laughing deeply, you know, that kind of laugh where you're about rolling on the floor, let me run to the restroom, I can't catch my breath. You don't realize how healthy that is for you to laugh that hard, because not only does it release good chemicals, you're breathing really deeply, okay? So that is really, really good. So engaging in those 3 things, the water, exercise, and breathing deeply, these are the things that it helps you constantly, continuously do, and it is so good for your body. Remember, your immune system is so important. Okay, let's look at that last link really quick, because I said we also talk about other solutions, including movement and water and breathing deeply. I want to talk a little bit real quickly about the foods that are very helpful to your system, okay? Now, I have a bowl here with some of them in it, okay? So we're going to scroll down to where they talk about the foods. Okay, so what's one of the first things they say there? They say water. It may not be considered a food, but I'm telling you, you can go for longer without eating than you can without drinking water. So it's very, very important. The next thing is they suggest cranberries. Cranberries help the body to really release a lot of fluids and such from the body. Leafy greens. Leafy greens is almost on every list, so get those greens in. No matter what you talk about, they talk about greens being very helpful. As a matter of fact, you need to eat more of those than nuts and seeds, but nuts and seeds are really good also. So there are particular herbs that are really good for the body. You can see some listed there, golden seal, echinacea and such. But always read up on the herbs and such before you take them, because like if you're pregnant, or like there's some things you shouldn't be taking, or even like with golden seal, you shouldn't take it more than a week at a time. You take it and then take a break. There's things like garlic. Some of these things may be foods that you don't eat, you don't like, or that just don't agree with you. So if you don't do the garlic, for example, ginger, right? Ginger is so good for you. You'll find it on a lot of lists that talk about things to help with digestion and circulation. Ginger is fabulous. I would suggest you do some ginger every day. You can throw it in a smoothie. You can throw some grated up real fine in your salad dressing. Fabulous food for you to do. You're hearing a lot about turmeric. A lot of people swear by turmeric and its ability to help with inflammation and such, and it also thins the blood. A lot of people, their blood is too thick, and that's why you end up with blood clots and things like that. It's important to keep the blood at the right viscosity. Seaweed, I love seaweed, and there's so many different types that you can eat. You want to make sure that you get those from places where there's a good clean ocean water, but there's a lot of varieties of seaweed. If you eat sushi rolls, and sushi doesn't have to have raw fish in it, but if you eat sushi, very good, the nori, but there's also other kinds, wakame, dolch, a lot of different types of seaweeds, very good for the body. And citrus, hey, come on now, it's 2016, you're in California, you got citrus growing all over here, beautiful citrus trees. I mean, whether it's oranges, grapefruits, limes, lemons, whatever, get that citrus in. If you don't like eating citrus, but you like to do juices, you can do something like delicious. I love sometimes when the citrus is plentiful to take 3 or 4 different types of citrus, juice them, and put them in one glass together. Oh, you talk about a delicious, delicious drink, very refreshing, very delicious, like tangelo, tangerine, an orange, a grapefruit. And I like to juice them on a hand juicer so that you get some pulp, because if you're leaving the pulp out, you're throwing a lot of phytonutrients away. And you can be taking in way too much sugar at one time if you just do straight juice. It's very important to include the pulp. So we've talked a lot about how to keep your lymph system healthy. It's not going to be just food alone. You need to breathe deep. You need to exercise. The gentle massage with either the brush or go for a massage. You got a lot of places here in LA and other places where you can go in and get a massage. Doesn't cost that much. It's very good for the body. And so I hope you learned a lot today. I had a fabulous time sharing this with you. Watch it again. There's a lot of good information in here. And I also want you to remember our sponsors, All in One Press Kit. Okay, we appreciate them sponsoring the show. And I'd also like to say that tune in next week. I have a wonderful guest. You're going to really, really enjoy the information. And I love you. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon. Sister Mo Dukwe, Raw Vegan Soul Food Show. Peace and love.